Friends, welcome to the online classes presented by Southern Global School. I'm Mr. Faruk Shaikh, and today I'm going to teach you Standards 9, Chapter 5th, Movement towards the Independence India. This is the second part. Okay, the first part's about the Dandi Yatras and all I was taught you in the Google Meet class. And today I'm going to teach you the Gandhi Irvin Pact, the Round Table Conference, and Moratorium of Satyagraha. So here is the Gandhi and Irvin Pact. So what is the Gandhi Irvin Pact? We need to understand first this. So Gandhiji was called upon by the British for the round table conference related to the constitutional structure and the reforms. Okay, and the Gandhiji was called by the Britishers for the conference, round table conference, so to discuss and to conference related to the constitutional structure and the reforms. What will be the constitutional structure of the India after the when the Indians will get the independence. So the first round table conference was held, but with the absence of Congress leaders, it was the fertile. The first roundtable conference also was held, but many of the Congress leaders were not present in this conference. So that is why it was not successful. It was failed to reconcile with Congress, and pact between Gandhiji and Irvin was made, which was known as a Gandhiji, and that is the why after this that Congress and the pact between the Gandhiji and Irvin was made, which was known as the Gandhi-Irvin Pact. Without, in the absence of the Congress, some leaders that reconciled with the Congress and a pact between the Gandhiji, that was known as a Gandhi-Irvin Pact, which is known as a Gandhi-Irvin Pact. It was held in the 1931. Before this, Gandhiji did the Dandi March Yatra. So in which the permission, okay, that was the permission also was taken. So in this, the in which the permission of free collection of manufacture of salt by the person near the sea coast, and the permission of peaceful picketing were the main points. Okay, the peaceful picketing means they can do the opposition against, okay, they can oppose the British foreign goods, and they can boycott, they can do the picketing, विरोध कर सकते हो उसका. Also they want the permission, and also that any person, okay, that any person can sell or the buy the coast, okay, who the person who are near the sea coast. In the second roundtable conference, Gandhiji was the only representative from Congress, and the Britishers had discriminating points for various religious committees, to which Gandhiji was deeply disappointed, and therefore the conference was dissolved. And there was a second roundtable conference also was held, and in this conference, that Gandhiji was the only Congress representative, and in this, that Britishers had discriminating the points for the various religious committees. So अलग अलग religious committees के तरफ से जो points आए थे, so they were discriminating. Okay, the Britishers were giving importance to the Hindus, they are not giving importance to the Muslim. If they are giving to the importance to the, they are not giving importance to Sikhs, so in some reason they were giving importance to the Muslims. So this is the way they wanted to make discrimination in the communalism. ओके, यानी कि सामाजिक वो भेदभाव उत्पन्न करना चाहते थे. दैट इज वाई दे वर नॉट agree, and that is why Gandhiji also was deeply disappointed with the discrimination of these Britishers, and that is why that conference also was dissolved without any decisions was taken. And after Gandhiji also was relied, now the British rule is not in the favor of the India. They just only wanted to rule over the India, and they wanted to just only prosperous, make their country prosperous at the cost of the India. Then Gandhiji launched another movement, which was known as the Quit India movement. So next is the Quit India movement. So keeping in mind the world war situation, the Congress Working Committee decided to end the individual satyagraha January 1942. Okay, and also there was a keeping in the world war. Okay, you all of you know, so that 1939 to 1945 there was a war, world war. Okay, so they were also the keep in their mind the world war situation, that Congress Working Committee decided to end द इंडिविजुअल सत्याग्रह, यानी कि किसी एक की तरफ से सत्याग्रह होता है, हमें उसको एंड करना है. दे हैव टू नॉट डू द मास सत्याग्रह, दैट होल कंट्री शुड बी यूनाइटेड against the Britishers to make India free from the Britishers. That is why they decided to end the individual satyagrah in the January 1942. The British government attempt to deceive people of India by crisp mission. So Indians were angry and dejected. Therefore, people of India no longer had faith in British rulers. They assumed that the British do not wish to quit India. Gandhiji advised the people to come out of despair and be prepared to give new and last fight. Now Gandhiji also was who is believing in the non-violence. Now he also said, come out of your houses and prepare yourself for the last fight. Okay, the British government attempt to deceive people of India by the crisp mission. यानी कि जो इंडियंस के लोग हैं उनको दबाना चाहते थे. They want to deceive them by the crisp mission. So Indians were angry and dejected therefore, and they also Indians were become the very angry on the this is the rules of the British East India, and they also dejected therefore of the British rule. So people of India longer had faith in the British rules. So now there was no faith was left for the British rules in the Indian people. And Gandhiji also advised to the people, so they come out of despair and be prepared to give a new and a last fight. यानी कि अब आप अपने घर के बाहर निकलो and prepare yourself to take a freedom from the British rule for last time and for the last fight. On the August 1942, resolution of Quit India movement was passed in the working committee of the Congress held at the Mumbai. Means Quit India movement. This resolution was passed and this movement was launched by the Gandhiji on August 19th, 1942, which was held in the Mumbai. On the second day of the resolution, Gandhiji, Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, and other eminent Congress leaders were arrested. Means who were the very prominent and the famous leaders of the Congress committee? They were arrested by the British East India Company, by the British force. So like Gandhiji, Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, and many of the other eminent Congress leaders were arrested to suppress this Quit India movement, because they were believed, they assumed Britishers could not leave, Britishers could not want to leave India. They do not wish to quit India. So newspaper were banned, regional and the district level Congress leaders were arrested simultaneously. Okay, and the newspaper also was banned. Why? Because if the news is spread over the countries of the India about the arrest of the Gandhiji, Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, and Maulana Azad, so whole country may be on the become the furious. Okay, that is why the newspaper also were banned, and also at the district level Congress leaders were arrested. Arrest of the Gandhiji and other leaders resulted in the notice nationwide strike, and this Gandhiji said, this is the last fight in my life and therefore people of India should make all attempt to achieve independence. And while this time Gandhiji was arrested by the Britishers, so that time गांधी जी सेड कि दिस इज द लास्ट फाइट इन माई लाइफ, यानी कि ये मेरे जिंदगी की सबसे आखिरी फाइट होगी, दिस इज द लास्ट फाइट इन माई लाइफ. ओके, एंड दैट इज द वाई द इंडियंस विल मेक ऑल अटेम्प्ट टू अचीव इंडिपेंडेंस. और इंडियंस को जो भारतीय है उन सबको अभी आज़ादी लेने के लिए जितना हो सके उतना दम लगा के उसका अपना contribution देना है. So to make all attempt to achieve independence, and he gave the slogan do or die. The Gandhi gave the slogan do or die, यानी कि करो या मरो, do whatever for your nation to get independence from the British rules, do or the die. Now strike during the Quit India movement, and during the Quit India movement many of the strikes were also well held. So the rulers and the urban regions of the country, including workers, farmers, youth, students, teachers, businessmen, and women, were the forefront of this movement. Workers went on strike in factories, iron factories in the Jamshedpur and cotton mills at Mumbai, and the Madras too were on strike. 1 lakh mill workers of the 75 cotton mills industries in Ahmedabad went on peaceful strike for 105 days. Colleges and schools observed strike for nearly 3.5 months. Market in Ahmedabad were closed. This is the situation that we can see in the because of the corona. After this, okay, so that time the workers, this is the fight not only for the Gandhijis or only for the leaders, but now in this fight, in this quit India movement strike, including the worker, farmers, youth, students, businessmen, and the women, they all were the forefront in this movement. Workers went on the strike, and also it was a peaceful strike. They were not doing any work, only this is the strike. Iron factories in the Jamshedpur and the cotton mills in the Mumbai and the Madras also were on the strike. 1 lakh milker workers of the 75 mills industries in Ahmedabad went on peaceful strike for 105 days. यानी कि 1 लाख से भी ज़्यादा जो मजदूर थे, जो काम वाले थे, जो 75 कॉटन मिल्स और इंडस्ट्रीज थी अहमदाबाद और जमशेदपुर में, so they went for a strike for 105 days. Colleges and the schools were also observed to strike for nearly 3.5 months, 90 and 105 days. It is also same number days in the Ahmedabad were closed, and the market in the Ahmedabad also were closed. Now harmful activities during the Quit India movement. Now the many of the non-violence activities also, violence activities also were held, done in the Quit India movement. Let us see. Now the anger against the British government was being expressed from the every nook and corner of the country. All peoples were angry, सभी को बहुत गुस्सा था, because they were the resistance and they were wanted to suppress the Indian leaders. They arrested the Indian leaders, so that is the why they were expressed their anger on the British rule from the every nook and the corner. Suppression against the peaceful people by the British lead to a violent situation, as per not only the ransacked the post office, telegram department, police station, railway station, government buildings, school and college buildings, railway lines, bridge and roads, but looted the asset and set on fire government properties. In this, railway incurred the heaviest loss in May of the areas people used bombs. So this is the destructive movement, and the harmful activities also were done by the Quit India movement's freedom fighters. Okay, in this they were also set on the fire, and they were looted the post office, telegram department, police station, railway station, government buildings, school and the colleges, railway lines, bridge, roads. They destroy this, and also they set on the fire government properties, and in this railway incurred the heaviest loss. सबसे ज़्यादा अगर लॉस किसी को हुआ था तो वो था रेलवेज. Okay, and in these activities many of the people also use the bombs. In the many of the area people also use the bombs to destroy the railway lines. Now the failures of the government in crushing the struggle. How the British could not crush this struggle as they were crushed in the 1857. So this time why they failed? Because this was struggle not only in the some region or the some area, but this struggle was over the whole country. The government tried to suppress the movement with hard hand. The struggle started from a small and to a large extent by the rent-seeking government system. More than 70,000 people were imprisoned. Okay, now how many people were imprisoned? More than 70,000, यानी कि 70,000 से भी ज़्यादा लोग थे वो अरेस्ट हो चुके थे. Okay, were arrested, and 538 gunshots were fired. 1,028 people lost their lives, and in these activities, in this struggle, 1,028 people were died. 538 gunshots were fired. 3,200 people were injured. Students were injured in gunshot, especially in Ahmedabad and the Patan. And during this moment, if you don't know, that one students also become the martyrs. Vinod Kinariwala, he was the one students, while he was going to unfurl the Indian flag on the one college or the school. So that time he was shot by the British police. His name was the Vinod Kinariwala. We should know about all the our revolutionaries and the freedom fighters. They were sacrificed their life for the independence India. They are the our forefathers were fought for the make India free from the British rules. So a unique political concessions were created among the people. This movement gave clear warning to the British government and a message to a world at large that India cannot be enslaved anymore. And by this act, okay, by this act, the Indian people have given the message, okay, the Indian people have given the message to the British government and also the world that India now cannot be enslaved anymore. यानी कि अब इंडिया बहुत ज़्यादा ब्रिटिश के अंडर रहेगा नहीं. इंडिया will be not enslaved more. To the British, the struggle really singled by the people of India, the Britishers, to quit India. The people of India now wanted full independence. The amendments for Dominion state were almost invisible by the struggle. After a struggle of 5 years, India achieved independence. Okay, in the 1942, the Quit India movement was launched. And after the 5 years, means in the 1947, India got the freedoms, India achieved the independence. So this struggle really singled by a people of India to British to quit India. यानी कि इंडियंस पीपल ने ये completely ये साइन दे दिया, सिग्नल दे दिया था by the Indian people to the British government, so they should have to quit India. They must have to quit India. The people of India now wanted full independence, no any single Britishers rule or on the post over the India. In the amendment for Dominion state was almost invisible by this struggle. After a struggle of 5 years, India achieved the independence. और 5 साल के struggle के बाद India got the freedoms. India got the independence from the British rule. Now during this time, not only in the India, many of the activities also were done in the abroad too, in the foreign too. And many of the people were make they build the army in the foreign countries too. We can learn about the Azad Hind Fauj and Subhash Chandra Bose. That Subhash Chandra Bose also was played an important role to get freedom from the British rules from the outside of the India. Let us see that Subhash Chandra Bose was born in Calcutta, Cuttack in Orissa state, 23rd January 1897. He was born in the 1897 in the Cuttack in Orissa state, 23rd January. His father, Rai Bahadur Jainikant Bose, was a government lawyer in British judiciary. और उनके जो बात है, he was a government lawyer. Now this is the, you can see the one name is given before the Jainikant. There is the Rai Bahadur. So Rai Bahadur not is the Indian name. This is the title is given by the Britishers to the Indian because of their loyalty and honesty toward the Britishers. Okay, so it is a Rai Bahadur. So Rai Bahadur Jainikant Bose was a government lawyer in the British judiciary, and his mother Parvati Devi was a philanthropist. Prediction was that, okay, and his mother was a Parvati Devi. Okay, so prediction was that this Bengali lad will become sincere servant of Britishers, और ऐसा मान रहे थे. There was a prediction, यानी कि ऐसी सब आगे करके this lad means son of the Parvati Devi and the Jainikant will become the sincere servant of the Britishers, यानी कि वो भी Britishers का एक बहुत ही वफादार सिंसियर नौकर बनेगा. But he went on to become a staunch freedom fighter against the British Empire after passing examination with good marks from court and the imprisoned during imprisonment. He was ill-treated. He was imprisoned and his place of residing as his wealth was returned since he was also unto the death. He traveled okay, sorry for the disturbing. Okay, so the Subhash Chandra Bose got the education from the Calcutta Presidency College. He went to England for the further studies. He passed the very difficult ICS, Indian Civil Service. Okay, that ICS, Indian Civil Service, by this you can become a IES, IPS. Okay, government class 1 officers. So the examination and the fourth number in the he was the in the fourth number and returned to Calcutta. Seeds of revolution were planted in his mind due to the insulting attitude and the pride of British professor at the Presidency College toward the Indians. Now in this college in the England, he was treated very badly. Okay, so there was a in this college the seeds of the revolutions were planted in his mind because he was insulted. Okay, and the British professors at the Presidency College toward the Indians, and they were feeling that so much proud they are the bigger than the Indians. So he was very much interested in the Indian independence struggle. He became an active member of the National Assembly. He joined the Swarajya Party in 1923, and he was also the very active members of the National Assembly, and he joined the Swarajya Party in 1923. He soon became a very popular leader among youth. He was in the top in civil disobedience. Okay, and as it is that Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose become the very popular in the youth in the Swarajya Party, and he was also in the top civil disobedience. Okay, सामूहिक सत्य that civil disturbance means whatever that foreigner goods they have to boycott. Okay, not to use all the things, education, goods, clothes, cigarette, tobacco, alcohol, everything was boycotted by the Indians. It is called the civil disturbance movement. So and therefore jailed many times in 1938, और उसके बाद में बहुत बार उनको जेल में भी भेज दिया गया by the Britishers. At the young age of the 41, he was elected a president of Congress convenience at the Haripura, Surat, and showcased his ability. And at the age of the young age of the 41, he was elected as the president of the Congress convenience at Haripura, and he showcased his ability. He left the Congress as a difference of opinion with the Gandhiji had increased, and he established a party, the Forward Bloc. This is the important, the party which was established by the Subhash Chandra Bose. Afterwards, it was known as a Forward Bloc. Okay, the Forward Bloc party was established by the Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, because between the Gandhiji and Subhash Chandra there was a differences of opinions. That Gandhiji was completely believe in the non-violence. Either Subhash Chandra was believe in, if this country is our, then why should have to give allow to others to rule over us? हम दूसरों के दबाव में आके क्यों रहे? If this is the our country, this is the our nation, we should have to grab it at any cost. And you know the slogan was given by the Subhash Chandra Bose, तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा, you give me blood I will give you freedom. Okay, and to awaken publicity against Britishers, he traveled most of the regions of India. He was arrested under Indian defense, and also to make aware public of the Indian people, he traveled most of the regions of the India, and the many of the time that Subhash Chandra was arrested under the Indian defense. Okay, under the Indian defense, because they were thinking that this man is threatened for the India. Okay, according to that is called the atrocity. Okay, according to this act he was arrested by the British government. Code, and he was imprisoned. During imprisonment he was ill treated. Okay, and while he was arrested that time he was ill treated, यानी कि उनको बहुत ही गंभीर सजा दी गई थी, उनके साथ बहुत ही बुरा व्यवहार किया गया था. And he was ill treated, he was imprisoned at his place of residency, at his wealth was deteriorating since he was fasting unto the death. Okay, and after while his death was deteriorating, जब उनकी तबीयत हेल्थ खराब हो गई थी, so that time he was imprisoned at his place, यानी कि उनको उनके घर पे ही कैदी बना के रखा. That is called the नजर कैद. And his health was distressing since he was fasting unto the death. मीन्स इज डिसाइडेड दैट इज कॉल्ड द अनसन, यानी कि जब तक मौत नहीं आती तब तक फास्ट करना, दैट इज कॉल्ड द अनटू द डेथ. एंड ही ट्रैवल इन द डिस्टिंग्विश ऑफ पाटन फ्रॉम कलकत्ता विया पेशावर. एंड आफ्टर दिस ही वॉज ट्रैवल, he distinguished of Patan from Kolkata via Peshawar, Kabul, Iran, and Russia. Later on, he reached Berlin, Germany, 28 March 1940. So he was escaped from the his imprisoned at his place, and he disguised from of Patan from Kolkata via Peshawar, then Kabul, then Iran, then Russia, and later on he reached to Berlin, Germany, 28th March 1942. And in the Germany he also visit Hitler, and that time Hitler was helped to the India. Hitler helped to the Subhash Chandra Bose. Indians living in Germany give him warm welcome. He urged the people of India through Berlin radio to fight against the British Empire. He also met Hitler in Germany and discussed in detail about the independence of India. And that time he also urged to all the Indians who are living in the Berlin, and he requested them to fight against the British Empire from the uh, other countries. And also he also met the Hitler in the Germany and discussed in details about the independence of the India. He then went to Rome and Paris to establish our military unit for the independence of India and required 3,000 Indians. And he recruited 3,000 Indians. After the Germany he went to the रोम एंड द पेरिस टू एस्टेब्लिश द मिलिट्री यूनिट, और वहाँ पे उन्होंने एक अपना मिलिट्री बनाई थी, मिलिट्री यूनिट. एंड इन दिस मिलिट्री यूनिट मेनी ऑफ द इंडियंस वेर जॉइंट, मेनी ऑफ द इंडियंस वेर रिक्रूटेड, एंड ही हैज़ रिक्रूटेड 3,000 इंडियंस. Raj Bihari Bose, a revolutionary living in the Japan, changed all the organization and established the Indian Independence League, and that after Indian Independence League was established to make India free, Azad Hind Fauj was set up. Okay, before the Subhash Chandra Bose has established that forward bloc party, but after that which a military use was established by the Subhash Chandra Bose, it was earlier known as the Indian Independence League, and to make India free, Azad Hind Fauj was set up. A presence of 100 Indian delegates from Malaya, Japan, Sumatra, Java, Hong Kong, Borneo, Borneo, Andaman, Burma, Brahmadesh, now Myanmar, were on the organizations, and in that, so many of the countries were joined in the presence of 100 Indian delegates of the Malaya, Japan, Sumatra, Java, Hong Kong, Borneo, Andaman, Burma, Brahmadesh. That time was known as the Brahmadesh. Now it is known as the Myanmar. So where in the organization they were joining the organization, and in that Mohan Singh was a prisoner arrested by Japan. Was also present. Moreover, Ras Bihari Bose voluntarily retired for as head of INA, Indian National League. Okay. So the Mohan Singh was prisoner arrested by Japan, was also present. Moreover, Ras Bihari was voluntarily retired as a INA. Okay. So Azad Hind Fauj and Indian Independence League. Azad Hind Fauj and the Indian Independence League. So these were the Indian Independence League, which was earlier name. After that party, that military unit was known as the Azad Hind Fauj, which was established by the Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose joined the Indian Independent League, and after a while he established that military unit, that party names turned into a Azad Hind Fauj. So let us see. So after breaking the tight British security, Subhash Chandra Bose cleverly reached Japan from Berlin in a submarine in 1943. और जो ब्रिटिश सिक्योरिटी थी उसको ब्रीच करके, उसको तोड़ के सुभाष चंद्र बोस बहुत ही होशियारी से, बहुत ही चतुराई चालाकी से ही रिच जापान फ्रॉम बर्लिन इन द सबमरीन इन 1943. 3. Moreover, Ras Bihari Bose of Indian Independence League invited Subhash Chandra Bose to be the head of this league. And that time, that Subhash Chandra Bose was invited by the Ras Bihari Bose, okay, to be the head of this league, Indian Independent League. It was decided that in this force only Indian soldiers and officers will be there, and it will fight for independence of India. And this all the soldiers were ready to fight for the independence of India. Then Japan will provide very kind of help for the Indian freedom. It was promised that as the Japan army advance toward Indian capturing India province, provisional government will be formed and Japan will give them recognition. Okay, and the Japan was ready to give all types of the help, ammunition, soldiers, also the money, all things Japan was ready to help the India. Okay, so that is why this will be the formed and the Japan will give the recognition to form the Azad Hind Fauj. On July 2nd, 1940, the Subhash Chandra Bose went to Singapore from Japan, and there he was elected as the president of Indian Independence League. Okay, और वहाँ पे while on the July 2nd, 1943, Subhash Chandra Bose went to the Singapore, and there he was elected as the president of Indian Independence League. On July 4th, 1943, moreover, Ras Bihari Bose voluntarily retired as the head of the Indian National Army, INA, Indian National Army, and then their name was changed Azad Hind Fauj, and appointed Subhash Chandra Bose as the head of INA, Indian National Army. Indians residing there got a proper and able leader for freeing their motherland. Since then, Subhash Chandra Bose was called Netaji. और उसके बाद में ही सुभाष चंद्र बोस नेताजी के नाम से जाने गए, सब उनको नेताजी नाम से बुलाने लगे, बिकॉज ही वॉज द वन strong and the proper and the able leaders for the freeing the motherland, for the freeing the India from the British Empire. That is why from there Subhash Chandra Bose was called the Netaji. In his speech on the radio, he gave slogan "Chalo Delhi, let's march to the Delhi." And from in the Berlins, okay, in the foreign countries, on the radio, he gave speech and he gave the slogan "Chalo Delhi, let's go to the Delhi, let's march to Delhi." For what? To freeing motherland from the British Empire. And also he gave another slogan, तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा, you give me blood I will give you freedom. This slogan also was given by the Subhash Chandra Bose. This is the these opinions, different opinion between the Subhash Chandra Bose and the Gandhiji. Gandhiji was completely believe in the non-violence. Either Subhash Chandra Bose was not believe in the non-violence. He was believe in the violence. Means violence also for the good purpose, to make our country free from the British Empire, from the British rule, to make Indians independence. That is why this is the differences between the Gandhiji and the Subhash Chandra Bose. The Subhash Chandra Bose left the Swaraj Party and he make forward block. Then after he was arrested by the Britishers, British police, British force, then after he escaped from them, he went to Germany, he met to the Hitler too. Okay, then from the Berlin he was escaped, and then he went to the Japan. There he met the army, INA. He was elected as a in the Singapore as a head of the INA, Indian Independence League, okay, Indian National Army. And after this party was known as a Azad Hind Fauj. So the slogan was given by तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा, give me blood I will give you freedom, you give me blood I will give you freedom. Khun means it is also that during the freedom fighter Britishers were killing the Indian leaders without any hesitating. Okay, you know about the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, how the innocent Indians were killed by the O'Donnell Dyer. Then after, by the British committee which was established to investigate, they call this is the innocent mistake, innocent act. How could they do this? More than 1,000 people were killed. How it can be say an innocent act? Is it? No. So With the skillful guidance, he formed a parallel government. He tried to convince and urge the Indians residing in Southeast Asia to sacrifice everything for the struggle of independence of India. And he also urged to all the people, all the Indians who are residing in the Southeast Asia, sacrifice everything. Everything means money, wealth, family, everything. He also said, "तुम मुझे खून दो." We also have to be ready to die for our country. Okay, so struggle of independence of India. Now the establishment of provisional government by Subhash Chandra Bose, and after this Subhash Chandra Bose also established that provisional government too. Okay, so provisional governments mean into the parallel to the British government, as it is Britishers have their own government, so Indians also have their government, which are believed the Indian people. So establishments of the provisional government by the Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose from the provisional government, and he became its prime minister and head of the army. Subhash Chandra Bose from the provisional Indian government, and he became its prime minister and head of army. He allotted other department to his companion and formed a cabinet. His government was recognized by the Japan, Germany, Italy, nationalized China, and the Burma. And Subhash Chandra Bose, this government also was recognized by the Japan, Germany, Italy, nationalized China, and the Burma. This government recognized Hindi as the national language and the tricolor as a national flag. And in this government, the Hindi was the national language and the tricolor flag Tiranga was a national flag. It was decided to have income by the assisting Japan independence role and the by property tax. Netaji visited Andaman and Nicobar Island and named it as Sahid Martyrs and the Swarajya independence. Okay, and in this Netaji visited Andaman and Nicobar Island and named it as Sahid Martyrs and Swarajya independence. Okay, Sahid martyrs यानी कि who sacrificed their life for the nation, they are called the Sahid martyrs. And Swarajya, Swaraj swa means self and Rajya means rule, independence. Last step and the martyrdom of Subhas Babu. सबसे last. Now in this also the World War II also played a major role for the Subhash Chandra Bose, this Azad Hind Fauj failure. In May 1944, under the leadership of Netaji, his military unit captured Rangoon, Prom, Kohima, presently the capital of Nagaland, and it marched toward Imphal, now capital of Manipur. But after the now Netaji's Azad Hind Fauj army had captured many of the regions of the India like Rangoon, Prom, Kohima, and presently it is a capital of the Nagaland, and then it marched toward the Imphal. It is presently now the capital of the Manipur. But after this, after the 1944, which was the biggest incident it happened in the world? Do you know? In the 1945, America dropped atom bombs on Japan's two cities, Hiroshima and the Nagasaki. Yes or no? Let us see. So after this, the dropping of two atom bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan, the financial assistance to the provisional government stopped. Now Japan is completely destroyed, ruined by the American these two atom bombs. He was not capable to assist the money to the to the army of the Azad Hind Fauj. British aircraft started warfare against Azad Hind Fauj, and so the condition became the critical. Now the British aircraft also started the warfare against the Azad Hind Fauj. And like, where was the Azad Hind Fauj? They were find out and they were killing them. They were attack on them. So that is why for the Azad Hind Fauj soldiers the condition became the very critical. On the August 18, 1945, he started from the Tipai airport to Formosa for Tokyo, Japan, but his plane caught fire and got serious burn. While undergoing treatment, he died. The mysteries of his death has remained unsolved till the date. Now the situation was out of control for the Azad Hind Fauj soldier. because Japan was completely ruined by the Americas, and America also in the side of the Britishers. That is why now the British aircraft were warfares against the Azad Hind Fauj. So that is why that Subhash Chandra Bose started from the Tipai airport of Formosa for the Tokyo, यानी कि वहाँ से वो टोक्यो में गए. But during his journey his plane caught fire and he got serious burn. उनकी प्लेन में आग लगी थी और वो बहुत ही बुरी तरह से जल गए थे. And that is why while undergoing the treatment he died. And also he died and then after he went from the another place. About this his death, it is a remained unsolved till death, the mystery of his death. अभी तक उनका जो मौत हुई थी अभी तक के रहस्य बन के रह गए. उनकी मौत एक्चुअली प्लेन में ही हुई थी और एल्सवेयर ही वॉज डाइड. Now the achieving independence and partition of India. Now another topic is started, that achieving independence got achieved independence in the 1947, and before that British also were declared, we will give you after this month or these years we will give the freedoms. They were agree, but situation now changed. Unity of the Indian and Muslim was not no more. There were so many hatred, discriminations was between the Indian leaders, Indian Muslim League and the INC, Indian National Congress. So the commanders, the commander of Indian National Army were arrested as prisoner of war and were accused of treason and put in the trial. Balubhai Desai and Jawaharlal Nehru pleaded their case. The British government inflicted them with punishment. There were protest against them in the entire country. So in this, the leaders of the Indians, okay, they were arrested and are prisoners of the war and were accused of treason and put on trial. उन पे ट्रायल लगाए गए, उन पे केस चलाए गए इन दी कोर्ट. इन दिस दैट वल्लभ देस एंड जवाहरलाल नेहरू प्लीडेड देयर केस. और इसमें जवाहरलाल नेहरू और वल्लभ भाई देसाई है वो उनके केस लड़ रहे थे. द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट इन्फ्लिक्टेड देम विद द पनिशमेंट, और ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट ने उनको भी पनिश्ड किया था. एंड देयर वेर प्रोटेस्ट अगेंस्ट देम इन द एंटायर कंट्री. सो बोविंग टू populist opinion, the government had to withdraw the punishment. And because of this punishment was given to the Jawaharlal Nehru and the Balubhai Desai, there was against started in the country, in the entire country. That is why British government withdraw the punishment. This event and with the naval mutiny of Bombay in 1946, the British realized their rule in India will no longer be tenable. Okay, and after this British also were realized कि अब हम बहुत ज़्यादा इंडिया पे हम रूल नहीं कर सकते. It is not possible now. So that is why on February 20, 1947, Attlee, the Prime Minister of Britain, announced the British government shall give all the power of the government of India as per the cabinet mission formula and shall quit India by June 1948. The Prime Minister that Britain announced, okay, the Attlee, he has announced that they will give the freedom, they will hand over all the powers to the Indians as per the cabinet formulate, okay, and they shall quit India by June 1948. 1948 में उनका छोड़ने का इरादा था. Okay, in the 1940 February 20 1947. Let us see what happened, that we got the freedoms earlier than the 1948. So thus in change situation, Mountbatten was appointed as a viceroy in place of Lord Wavell. Now this Mountbatten played a major role to divide India into the two countries, India and the Pakistan. So this Mountbatten was appointed as a viceroy in the place of the Lord Wavell. When he took charge of his post, communal riots had started in India. और जैसे ही Mountbatten ने चार्ज लिया, that's in India, communal riots were started because he has conveyed to the Muslim leaders that after the independence for the Muslims, the condition will be the worst because there is a majority of the other religion. So that is why the Muslims were convinced, and they were also the agree with his ideas about the partition of India for the one nation for the Muslim majority and one nation for the Hindus majority. So the condition of India had become the pathic. In July 1946, the Congress secured 201 seats out of 210 and Muslim League 73 seats out of 78 from province of India. Now in this situation, in the July 1946 there was elections were held, and in this election that INC Indian National Congress secured 201 seats out of 210, यानी कि 210 में से 201 सीट्स कांग्रेस को मिली थी. And the Muslim League secured 73 seats out of 78 from the province of India for the prior formation of the Constituent Assembly. और असेंबली बनाने के लिए जो इलेक्शन किया गया था, in Congress also got the majority and the Muslims also got the majority. The large persuade of the government for Pakistan on 16th August 1946. Okay, the league pressurized Indian Muslim League was pressurized the government for Pakistan in 16th August 1946. So the terrible communal riots and the tumult spread all over the India, and because of this, the pressure of the Muslim League, there was a communal riots, Komi Hullad, Komi Tofan, communal fighting was started all over the India. Looking at the situation in India, Sardar Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, and other Congress leaders felt there was no other alternative except accepting the demand of Muslim League for Pakistan. While they were so the situation of the Indian, it was become the very pathetic, and then also they decided, okay, so there is a no any other options alternative except accepting the demand of Muslim League for Pakistan. Because Muslim League and Jinnah insisted for the separate Pakistan, the Muslim League boycotted the first cabinet meeting on December 9, 1946. To fulfill their demand for the independent Pakistan, they also boycotted the Indian National Council, Indian National Congress cabinet meeting on the December 9, 1946. The Muslim League executive held on the January 31st, 1947, decided to boycott the cabinet meeting and gave a rapid and the extensive program for the demand of Pakistan. And they wanted to give the very fast and the expensive program for the independence of Pakistan. Mountbatten convinced Nehru and Sardar Patel, who understood the matter, that having well-organized central government, having administrative unit under the central, shall be more peaceful and progressive instead of weak central government consisting of many autonomies and the opposite constitution. National leaders found this argument acceptable. Sardar Patel and Nehru discussed this matter with Gandhiji, who also helplessly accepted arrangement of partition of India with heavy heart. Gandhiji also was understood the situation of the India, and that is why the national leaders found the arguments acceptable about the separation of the India and the Pakistan. The about this, the Nehru and Sardar Patel also discussed with the Gandhiji with this matter, and the Gandhiji also helplessly accept this arrangement for the partition of India with heavy heart. Gandhi was against the separation of India and the Pakistan. Okay, and the Gandhi always saying, if we are united, we have the strength. अगर हम एक होंगे तो हमारी ताकत ज़्यादा रहेगी. But Britishers have these sowed the seeds of the separation of Pakistan in the many of the leaders. Some leaders also were very greedy, and that is why this was happened, that India was divided into two countries, India and the Pakistan. Here you can see there was a meeting was held, the Mountbatten Plan 1947 and partition of India. So on March 24, 1947, Viceroy Mountbatten president his scheme. According to him, there was no alternative other than the partition of India. National and prolific leaders like Sardar Patel understood the matters after many discussion and pondering. Finally, on June 3rd, 1947, Viceroy Mountbatten decided to plan the freedom of accepting the partition in meeting. In this meeting, here you can see this is the Mountbatten. Okay, this is the Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He is the Jawaharlal Nehru. Here is the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So many prominent leaders were there on the round table conference, and this was the Mountbatten plan. According to the Mountbatten plan, there was a division of the India and the Pakistan, and to make a line to divide India into the Pakistan, there was a one line was drawn between India and Pakistan that was called the Red Cliff Line. Okay, so Viceroy Mountbatten decided to plan the partition of India. This plan was known as a Mountbatten plan. अब Mountbatten ने decide किया था कि how to divide the India into the two countries, India and the Pakistan. Okay, so that is why this plan was known as a Mountbatten plan. In the above picture, you have seen that freedom of acceptance of partition in meeting would relate to the Mountbatten plan and the partition of India. In the meeting of the partition of India, the Congress leaders and the Muslim League accepted this plan. When Mountbatten plan started getting implemented, the people of East Bengal and Sylhet province of Assam decided to join East Pakistan. West Bengal and East Bengal were affiliated with the India as per decision of their assembly. West Punjab joined with Pakistan. It was decided to affiliate North Province, Sindh and Balochistan with the Pakistan. So according to this Mountbatten, what was the decided? So which nations, which province wanted to join by their choice, which country they can join it. Okay, so according to this, the East Bengal and Sylhet province of the Assam decided to join East Pakistan. West Bengal and East Bengal were affiliated with the India. Bengal और West Bengal, East Bengal वो दोनों इंडिया के साथ में ज्वाइन होना चाहते हैं. As per decision of the assembly, West Punjab joined with the Pakistan. Now also the many of the region of the Pakistan in the Punjab in the Pakistan. It was decided to affiliate North West province, Sindh and Balochistan with the Pakistan. And Balochistan, Northwest province also, Sindh and Balochistan joined with the Pakistan. Okay, so as it is, India was divided into the two separate nations. India Independence Act July 1947. Then after Independence Act was passed in the July 1947, the British Parliament passed the Indian Independence Act according to Mountbatten plan. According to this, India's first Governor General was Mountbatten, and the Jinnah was the Governor General of Pakistan. यानी कि इंडिया का सबसे पहला अगर गवर्नर जनरल कोई होगा, सो ही इज द माउंटबेटन. एंड इफ द पाकिस्तान फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल, सो इज द मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना. By this act, India's dependence on British rule came to an end. Therefore, Gandhiji considered this act as the one and only best and beneficial act given by the Britishers to India. And Gandhiji also stated this is the one and only act given by the Britishers for the beneficial act गिवन बाय द ब्रिटिश टू द इंडिया. यानी कि अगर एक इंडियंस के लिए कोई काम का अगर कोई कायदा बनाया है, कोई लॉ बनाया है, कोई एक्ट बनाया है, सो दैट इज ओनली द इंडियन इंडिपेंडेंस एक्ट विच वॉज बेस्ट एंड द बेनिफिशियल एक्ट फॉर द इंडियंस. So this last viceroy of the British government organized a function in the New Delhi, and midnight of August 14th, the Union Jack in England was brought down from the pole and Indian national flag tricolor was hoisted. And this is the last viceroy of the British government. Okay, organized in the function at the New Delhi at the midnight August 14th. Midnight means it is the 14th midnight ko. It is the 15th date. The Jack of England, Union Jack of England, यानी कि जो इंडियन का फ्लैग इट इज कॉल्ड द यूनियन जैक ऑफ इंग्लैंड, was brought down, and from the pole the Indian national flag tricolor was hoisted. The document attributed independence of India were handed over by the Mountbatten to C. Rajagopalachari, the first Governor General of Independence India. And the first Governor General of Independence India, the Indian, was the C. Rajagopalachari. Entire atmosphere was full of excitement. Okay, and after the so many years we got the independence from the British rule, so the atmosphere was very so excited. Entire process of transfer of power was complete on the August 1947. Was excellent dawn for India. And on the August 15th 1947, the entire process of the transfer of power from the British to the India, it was complete, and was an excellent dawn for India. Dawn means सुबह, यानी कि बहुत ही अच्छी सुबह थी for the Indian people and for the Indian country, because this is the morning for the India as a independence country. So all celebrated the first Independence Festival very pleasantly and cheerfully in the entire country. Everywhere people hung torrents, a good omens on doors. Sweets were distributed in the school. Many people who had taken a vow felt relieved on its fulfillment. But Gandhiji was shocked with the partition of India, and therefore he had deeply plunged into grief and drifting into the meditation. All Indians were the happy. They were distributed the sweets into the schools and the colleges. Peoples adorned, decorated their houses, and hung the torrents and the good omens on the doors. People who has taken the vow, they were felt relieved on its fulfillment. But only the one person was in the grief. He was the Gandhiji. Because Gandhiji was shocked with the partition of India, and therefore he had deeply plunged into grief and drifted into the meditation. और वो फिर वहाँ से कहाँ से चले गए, योग में, ध्यान में चले गए. India becoming independent and the immediate problem of it. After the independence of the India, which problems were there started? So India and Pakistan, two separate independent nations, came into existence as a result of Mountbatten Plan. According to the Mountbatten Plan, two nations were came into existence, India and the Pakistan. And Indian Independent Act 1947, the resolution of the following problems had to be found out. और problems तो अब शुरू होने वाली थी. The new pictures will begin now. There was a problems where recognition of military forces. Now there was a boundary of the India. Many of the enemy countries also around us. So there was a first recognition of the military forces. Dispute over asset and the properties, debts and the credit. Military बनाना, assets और properties का हिसाब बनाना, debits and credit यानी कि हमारे क्या डेबिट्स है, हमने किसके पास से ब्याज दिवा लिया है, व्हाट इज द आवर क्रेडिट, हमारे पास कितनी वेल्थ है, कितनी संपत्ति है. प्रॉब्लम्स एंड सेटलमेंट ऑफ रेफ्यूजीज, दैट पीपल हु आर केम फ्रॉम द पाकिस्तान, they have not any identity. Settlement of these refugees, public service and the arrangement of civil servant and administrative staff. The public service, IAS, IPS, arrangement of civil servant and the administrative staff, demarcation of international boundaries of eastern and western side of India to be fixed, etc. Okay, and the demarcation of international boundaries in the eastern and the western, east and the west, China and toward the Pakistan, it will be also fixed to the India. So many problems were arose and the founded. A 5 members committee consisting of two representative from India and Pakistan was formed under the chairmanship of Lord Mountbatten. The committee appointed different commission consisting of experts of relevant subject to solve all the problems. In case of any differences of opinion, both the nations admitted to accept the final decision given by the arbitrator. There was one arbitrator who can take the final decisions for both the countries beneficial, solutionable decisions. Okay, so this also so consisting of one representative of India and one of Pakistan under the chairmanship of former Chief Justice of India. Okay, and this committee also was established for the representative, one from the India and one from the Pakistan, and under the chairmanship of the one of the former Chief Justice of India. Military Commandant General of India compiled the partition of Indian Army military weapons. Okay, and also this time the army military weapons also were compiled between the India and the Pakistan. The British Army left India by February 28, 1948. All officers and employees of administration and military judiciary were given opportunity to choose whether they would serve India or the Pakistan. And in the India, many of the officers in the military, judiciary, in the administrations, these all were given the opportunity to choose whether they would serve India or Pakistan. उन सबको चूज़ करने की आज़ादी दी गई थी कि उनको कहाँ पे लेके सर्व करना है. दे वांट टू लिव इन द इंडिया और दे वांट टू सर्व द पाकिस्तान. They were given assurance about their pay, allowance, security of service, pension, etc. A large number of refugees from both countries migrated, and all that serve IAS, IPS, and the servant security of the service. Okay, they have given also the assurance about their security service allowance and the pension. Large number of the people were migrated from the both the countries, from Pakistan to India and from India to Pakistan. Leaving their houses and the properties, India solved the tremendous problems of their rehabilitation and restoration very skillfully and patiently. Then the then Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel merged about 562 small and big princely state of India into a Union. And that time India was divided into the small and big princely state, more than 562, and these all the states were merged into the India Union, and this was done by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and that is why this work also is done by one of the person Bismarck. That is Sardar Patel Vallabhbhai Patel, also known as the Bismarck of India. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's strong determination, iron will, and diplomatic negotiations solved the problems. And it is why also known as the Iron Man of India. And the iron will, उनकी जो विल पावर थी, it was like a iron, it can be unbreakable. And that is why these problems were solved by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel of the small and big princely state. Yet long-term planning to find a solution to problem like effect of communal riots due to the partition, the shock of Mahatma Gandhi's state to make independence India self-reliant with the help of good governance, the weak condition of Indian agriculture to create an atmosphere of peace and tranquility in the country, the internal external security of the country, etc. become the necessary. Now we got independence from the British rule and everything is finished. No, the real work was started by the Indian governments now. Now they have to make a country the self-reliant with the help of good governance. This will have to weak condition of the Indian agriculture. They have to improve to create the atmosphere of peace and the tranquility in the country, यानी कि लोग शांति से सलामती के साथ रहे, they feel secure and safe. That is why they should have to create this type of atmosphere, and the internal and external security of the country etc become the necessary. और देश के बाहर और देश के अंदर की सिक्योरिटी भी वो बहुत मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थी. Okay, like that Gandhi ji, who was the nation father, he was killed by one person, Nathuram Godse. So that will be a security important, internal and the external. So students, here is the our chapter is over. Okay, and try to write all the exercise yourself, and I will send you also the additional and the textual questions answers of this. Okay, so bye bye, take care, and wish you a very happy Deepavali and safe Deepavali. Thank you.